Fund Supermart, your online gateway to unit trusts.
Hi Tristan, what is the outlook for US small caps now?
The outlook is actually positive. Small caps went through a very difficult phase between mid-2015 and early 2016. They went through a correction of over 20%, and they since have rallied, in the Russell 2000 index of small caps, finished the year 20% higher. But given the correction in the previous period, we're only coming back to prices that we'd seen 2 years ago. And specifically within value stocks. So on this chart, you'll see the difference in performance between value stocks and growth stocks within small caps. And what it shows is that small caps has vastly underperformed, the value portion had vastly underperformed the growth portion over the trailing 10-year period. And given that value stocks have done better last year, that gap has started to close and value stocks have started to rebound. But you're still at a very early stage of that process. And we think there's further to go here. And then you also have the backdrop of an economy that even before the election was on a solid footing. It was improving. And you see that in the growth expectations for earnings next year, which are expected to accelerate. So you have a nice combination of small caps which had been out of favor and have come back into favor, and an accelerating economic backdrop, which usually helps small caps do well.
How is the incoming Trump administration likely to impact the equity markets, and how is the fund positioned for it, if any?
I think the Trump administration and the Trump platform have many positive implications for small caps. And that's partly why they did so well post the election. They're seen as first in line to benefit from tax cuts, the infrastructure spending program, as well as the easing, the relaxing of some of the regulation. Small caps pay a higher headline tax rate than big companies because they have less business overseas, have less means to engage in sophisticated tax minimization schemes, and so they will benefit the most from a reduction in tax rates. They will also benefit from an easing of regulation, given again that they don't have the means to get out or to go around some of those more onerous rules. So the portfolio isn't positioned specifically in the context of the election. It did own, even before the election, a series of stocks in the infrastructure space, think building materials, building products, construction and engineering stocks, which had started to do well even before the election and have continued to do so after the election. So that's an area of the market, and we have a slide that shows some of these exposures in the portfolio. So the fund still owns, although they've trimmed this, still owns some infrastructure-related stocks. It also owns some energy stocks, which are poised to do well with the new administration. You also have consumer stocks, which should benefit from tax cuts also on households, as well as the job creations that the vast infrastructure programs could entail for a part of the population which had been left out of the labor market. And all those things should support consumer spending and therefore consumer stocks.
Why should investors include such a fund into their portfolio?
I think this is a part of the market which gives you outsized returns over the long term. It comes with higher volatility, of course, because you're talking about small businesses, which are inherently a little more risky, but you're compensated for that extra risk by better long-term returns. And then you have the fact that Small caps are a less efficient asset class. It's been widely debated that it's very tough to outperform the S&P 500 on a consistent basis because of how efficient the market is. It's a very different story when you're dealing with small and micro cap businesses, small and micro cap companies, because there's a real dearth of research. There's much less sell-side coverage. So as an active manager, you have greater scope, if you do your homework, if you have expertise in this field, to generate significant outperformance.
Thank you.